Rick, it's good to see you.
Yeah, good morning, Keith. Good to see you, man.
Good man. I got one hot off the presses. This is something that happened to me recently. The title of this podcast is called Receiving Feedback on My Unconscious Bias. So can I set the stage for you?
Oh man, okay, yeah. It sounds like something a psychologist would say, and I know you have a degree in the field, so I'm not surprised.
Thank you. Thank you. So here's what happened. Working at Mayo Clinic this week, and I have two great partners. One is a physician, and the other person is she's an administrator. So she in the organizational chart, she's one rung up higher than me. She's fantastic to work with. And so she shared something with me that was both of us that was awesome. So we do these things called diversity dialogues. That was the brainchild of the physician. And what we do is every month at noon, we will have a diversity topic. But the way they do it is they have a group come in and talk about it. So for the first month, it was Hispanic Heritage Month. So we had a physician who was Hispanic come in and talk. And then we have a merge group that is for Latinos. And so this merge group comes in, they talk about what the group is to create a sense of belonging and connection for people who are Hispanic and others, because everyone's welcome. And they also have something that is that comes from their culture. So it's normally food. And so they did an incredible job. The month after that, it was Native American or American Indian, and they did a great job. We actually did an apology ceremony in which we formally apologized for the appropriation of Native American lands, and so that was amazing coming from Mayo Clinic to a tribe that was there. So it was really great. And then, of course, they had food there that is from the Native American Indian culture. So the next one coming up, we have one coming up in March, is for Women's History Month. And so we are partnering with a employee group that's called GLOW, and it stands for Greater Leadership Opportunities for Women. And so myself and the doctor, who's male, who happens to be male, was there, and the organizational leader, who I partnered with, the three of us, was there, and plus representatives from this group called Glow. They do great work. I partnered with them before. They're fantastic. So we're brainstorming all these ideas about how to do the event. Now, what I'm unaware of is as we're throwing out ideas about the theme, the topics, what we'd like the goals to be, what we'd like people to walk away with, we're doing this. And I'm not aware of it, but the people that are talking are the doctor and myself. We're the ones who are like laying out what this whole event is going to be. And so after the meeting's over, the meeting ends, and the four women from Glow, they say goodbye, and Jordan, myself, and Nathan stay on the virtual meeting. And Jordan is just listening. She starts smiling, and she says, "Hey, Dr. Delafield and Keith, I'd like to share some feedback with you, if that's okay." I was like, "Yeah, sure." I think she's going to say this is a good job. She's like, "Well, I want to bring your attention to something." I was like, "Oh, she's talking to Dr. Delafield now." She's not talking to me. She's talking to him. She's like, she's like, um, guys, this is Women's History Month, right? She's like, well, I think maybe next time that we have a meeting with them, that you can ask them for their suggestions. So here you are with two guys designing Women's History Month, but, and not and not giving them any voice. Rick, I had no idea what's going on. But when I reflect back on it, when I go back and check the tape, all we were doing was talking between ourselves and letting them say yes, yes, we like it.
Oh God.
Rick, it's embarrassing. The unconscious bias. I was like, dude, I don't have an unconscious bias when it comes to women. And they're like, dude, that's why it's called unconscious, because you don't even. So Rick, it was such a great wake up call, and the way she handled it by bringing it to our attention was done with such grace and not making us wrong. I just said, hey, listen, when we do another meeting with them, just a suggestion, but maybe you'll have them offer their feedback. Like, you when you did ask them for something, it was very leading. It was like, so instead of saying, do you like the idea? You would say something like, what time do you think we should do the idea? Like they didn't have a voice of whether they like it or if they wanted it to be different. And so it was just really, really good feedback from us. And during the meeting, she she actually, because we're going to have a panel, she offered a question for the panelists, which was, is giving women communication tools to have difficult conversations. So at the time, I didn't know that we would be having one as part of the post meeting, feedback. So it was great. Rick, what are your thoughts about that?
Oh, yeah, I think unconscious bias is part of being human. I think an antidote, at least in my experience, has been empathy. The more
Yes,
empathy and the more compassion you have about another person whose life you have no clue how it operates, what fears, what hopes are involved in that person's life. Uh, you don't have any clue about that. Empathy and compassion will bring you closer.
yeah,
I would, one of the things that helped me a great deal, breaking out of my little box, my little bubble of how I was raised, was I took acting classes for years, and I really got a lot out of it because think of it, when you're an actor, you're trying to inhabit the characteristics of a character, and all you know the character from is what's written on the page, what his lines are. But once you get the lines, once you understand where those lines are coming from, you can develop into uh, like an avatar of that person. You're not going to be that person, but you're going to be able to understand what the motivation is, what the issues are that he's afraid of, what he wants, and so forth. So my point is that you don't have to be an actor to become more compassionate or empathetic. But if you think of yourself as trying to understand and putting yourself in the position of the person or entity or groups or whatever that you're trying to relate to, then I think you can have a little bit of a breakthrough. It's kind of fun to put yourself in a situation that's
absolutely.
totally outside of your comfort level. I'm a white guy, I'm an old white guy. I think it'd be great to play a 14-year-old girl. I mean, in my head, to understand, okay, what are the things that she's going through right now? She's an adolescent, she's worried about being an attractive woman, she's worried about her future, global warming, and she has a crush on a boy at school. Her favorite color is this. Is that different than Susie's favorite, my peer group's favorite color? All of those concerns. I never think about any of that crap. None of it, would never occur to me. But if I do the work and I get out of myself and into someone else, just trying to imagine what that life might be like, that leads to empathy, that leads to compassion, that leads to understanding, and it avoids the situation you were in where you're starting to act as an expert on something that you have no clue about.
Oh yeah, Rick, it was so great, man. We only have a minute left, but it was so great. And where the practice comes in is that, and Dr. Delafield is also doing the practice. He just started it. What came with that was, it was a couple of things, which was I really worked on myself about receiving feedback and receiving it as if it was a gift. And that's exactly how we received her feedback, is in the way that she intended it, as a gift. And she did it so well. And that's why, I'm just grateful for the practice, is because I understand that, man, I'm going to drop passes and more than I'm going to catch them. And that's part of the human experience, and trying to become more and more conscious and be the best version of myself. And I'm just grateful for that whole experience. Hopefully it will help some of our listeners who are out there that may be having their own unconscious biases, whether it's regarding you know um, some in-laws or your children or your parents who may be aging. Like there's so many things that we are blind spots for us because we haven't had those lived experiences. And so, yeah, it was just really, really cool, Rick. I'm grateful for the practice, grateful for my colleagues at Mayo Clinic for that, and grateful for being able to receive the feedback in the way that it was intended. So, Rick, thank you so much.
Wonderful to be your friend, man. It's just it's great to hear your words.
Awesome, Rick. I love you, man. Thank you so much.
Adios.